This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
Hey, what is up, Will?
What up? What up?
Welcome, Story of the Fight listeners. My name is Gabriel. That's my boy Will, and this is where we talk all things mixed martial arts. Sorry for the technical difficulties today, where we usually go live. We will not be able to go live today due to the third party we use to stream, right? So
yeah, streaming platform is crashing the stream 20 seconds in. We tried it multiple times. So we were like, nope, we can't do that because we have lives outside of this. So we are going to be covering UFC Vegas 84, Johnny Walker versus Magomed Ankalaev 2. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, go to storyofthefight.com, click through the links, follow all of them, check out storyofthefight.com for merch and all of our socials. Right now, we're covering UFC Vegas 84, Ankalaev versus Walker 2. If you want to see a specific fight, click the timestamps below. Otherwise, just ride through it. Sorry we're not live. The live chat makes this way more fun, but please still comment because we will still like to chat with you after the fact. Let's go.
100%. So let's go. Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. This is the second time that they're actually fighting, right? The first time ended in what, controversy? It was kind of weird, no?
Yeah, Ankalaev always has crazy shit happen in his fights. He has like the Kutalaba fights where they get stopped, blah, blah, blah. They have the draw with Jan Blachowicz when they're fighting for the vacant belt. And then
Terrible fight.
He fights. Yeah, so they're like, let's get him back on track, Johnny Walker. And then they fight, and then he knees him in the head on the ground. And they're like, we can't. And the doctor's like, where are you? And he's like, the desert? And they're like, this guy's fucked. So they call the fight.
But he was kind of in the desert, wasn't he?
He was in the desert. But they canceled the fight. They have to rebook it. And you're like, man, Ankalaev just cannot get on track. He gets stopped every single time. It's crazy. But maybe, it's by his own doing sometimes, but but still. So they book it again. And, it's perfect timing to start the year, the first card. They get this on the right track so that hopefully the winner of this fights Alex Pereira, potentially. Who knows? But I think, we talked about it already, but the most interesting part of this is the fact that Johnny Walker got to see the game plan that Ankalaev brought to the table the first fight, and he saw that it beat his own game plan. Because He was losing that fight. Up until the illegal knee, he was losing. So now you get to go back to the drawing board, and if you're Johnny Walker, and you're like, okay, I know what he's bringing to the table. I can now adapt my game to that. If you're Ankalaev, you don't really know what Johnny Walker is going to bring to the table because you're like, what I did worked. I'll just do that again, but maybe he's going to come back with something that will beat what I did. So now you're like in your own head a little bit if you're Ankalaev. But I don't think that actually was the case. Going into it, I thought maybe Johnny Walker has a chance because of that. And in the first couple minutes, I thought, oh, look at that. Look at him overwhelm him with all this crazy Johnny Walker antics and these kicks and these spins and all this craziness. But then, halfway through the round, Ankalaev starts to settle Johnny Walker down, which is the biggest thing, and really kind of started having his way with him. I still think Walker took the first round.
Yeah, and to your point, the first couple minutes, right, he's throwing those spinning back fists, the spinning back kicks. He's doing all these crazy things, putting nonstop pressure on. Almost some disrespect, too, like the way that he was just walking him down with, like, his arms down, like, just kind of, like, reaching out from him. And I was like, oh, boy. And the entire time that he's throwing all these crazy things, Ankalaev's like, calf kick, inside leg kick, calf kick, just methodically, right? Just starting to chop him down little by little. And then definitely in the second round, you see Ankalaev start taking over a lot more. And, man, the way that he finished Johnny Walker was beautiful, right? Like you have Johnny Walker that tries to come in with that right. Ankalaev just slips it just enough. And then as Johnny Walker's trying to pull back after throwing that right, Ankalaev hooks that arm so Johnny Walker can't scoot back, which kind of catches Johnny Walker off guard. And with that same arm comes up with that right that drops Johnny Walker back into the fence.
Yeah, and like he set it up perfectly with just like getting him in that leg kick game because Johnny Walker got a little lazy the way he was entering at that point, and Ankalaev was like, perfect. Next time he enters lazy, I'm going to tie him up and clock him. And yeah, the way, we talked about it already, but the way he falls, Johnny Walker, every time he gets knocked out, it's like those it's like the inflatable tube men at like
Dude,
a car dealership, you know?
It's so
Like,
perfect. And I think that the example I had to use, right, is like you have somebody that everybody talks about. They love the way they knock others out, right? Like a Derek Lewis, devastating knockouts. Like I think about his knockout against like Curtis Blades, and you're like, man, or Francis Ngannou
yeah.
against
Yeah.
Rosenstruck and against Alistair.
Everybody else.
Yeah, but Johnny Walker, nobody gets knocked out better than Johnny Walker because it's always memorable, dude. The way he gets knocked out is always memorable. Like, have you seen the video where he gets knocked out like 3 times in one fight?
Yeah, in the regional scene. Yeah.
Yeah, his knockout to Jamal Hill. Like it's just over and over again.
And yeah, the way he fell on this one, man, he just slumps, and he's so tall that like when he hits the ground, it like sends that shockwave through his body, and it's just like bam. And then while he's sitting there, kind of dazed, Ankalaev just walks over, hits him with that uppercut straight to the middle of his face, and breaks his nose.
Straight from Russia, dude.
Yeah, and you see Johnny Walker just like hold his face in pain from that punch, and Ankalaev just walks away like, all right, that's it.
Yeah,
It's
so
crazy,
you know you're already out of it from the punch, right? You fall back,
Yeah.
you're on your ass against the fence, you're already out of it. And then he comes in with this massive shot. Usually when a fighter's still kind of in it, their first reaction is like, damn, I just got clocked. Let me try to grab his leg. Let me try to do something, right? No, Johnny Walker's like, ow!
Yeah.
And just held his face right away.
Nose, dude.
And that was it. That was all she wrote.
Yeah, and Ankalaev, you know, I thought this was kind of a foregone conclusion, this matchup, and then it got delayed, and then we finally got the conclusion. And now that we got the conclusion, that's Ankalaev ranked number 3 with a win over a name with a knockout to start the year. So, like, if you're the UFC, do you try to get him a title shot now? Do you wait for Alex to fight Izzy, like the rumors maybe at UFC 300? Or do you wait for Jamal Hill to come back for Alex? Like, what do you do with Ankalaev now? There's a decent chance if they can't get anything going, we might see Ankalaev versus Pereira for UFC 300, depending on what I don't know. We're either going to get some crazy batshit, no one expected it main event for 300, or it's just going to be something that makes sense in the division. And that's Alex versus Ankalaev or Jamal Hill or something like that. It could also be Izzy versus Dricus or Strickland, depending on how that fight goes. If they don't take too much damage, whoever wins it. But you know,
either way, man, a return for Izzy or another fight for Pereira. Pereira's starting to become must-watch TV, dude.
He has been, dude. Come on.
You're right. He has been. What am I saying?
But if he fights Ankalaev, who do you have?
Give me Pereira.
Okay.
Give me Pereira, dude.
I think I'll beat him.
Straight from the Amazonian River, Pereira, Powhatan, bro. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, but it was a fun main event. Something that needed to happen, considering how the last one finished. You want to move on to the co-main?
Yeah, that fight just felt kind of like unfinished business. Let's just get it over with early in the year.
It's done now. It's done now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what weirdness happens next in Ankalaev's career.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
He always has a bizarre career, dude. Absolutely
really
bizarre.
Does. Before that, we had Benítez versus Jim Miller, man. Gabriel Benítez versus Jim Miller. Jim Miller. What was he? 45 now?
I think he's 40.
Is he?
He's got more fights than he has years. I'll tell you that. Yeah, he's 40. Jeez. He climbed to 37 and 17. Absolute insanity, dude. So many fights.
Benítez coming out looked like he found his timing rather quickly, right? In the first minute, just landing some shots on Miller. Miller was eating some of those shots as the fight went on.
From Benítez.
Yeah. As the fight went on, Miller seemed to find this nice little jump in, lead left or right hook that seemed to start landing a little bit. But what do you think?
Yeah, the coolest thing for me was Jim Miller finding that combo where he was like, Benítez calf kicked him a couple times. He's like, oh, are we leg kicking? And then he'd be like, he'd throw that flurry. You know how like Holly Holm always has that flurry where she's like, ha, 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 and then ends it with a kick. But then like
I know
none of them really lands.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, and like nothing really lands. But then here we are with Jim Miller. Like he's throwing this jab, shovel hook to either the body or the head with his right, and then going with the left hand again, and then using the momentum of that third punch to swing his leg across, and he's throwing those Dutch style, just sweeping low leg kicks. And it's just, I mean, he just kept throwing it and marching him down, throwing that sweeping leg kick. It's fucking awesome to see.
What does his tattoo say? Do not go gentle?
Do not go. Yeah, do not go gently, maybe. There's like that one poem,
gently.
right? Don't go gently into, yeah.
Is that James Joyce? No, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I was trying to think of any other poet.
That was a Step Brothers reference.
Oh, man. But yeah, it was a fantastic showing from Jim Miller. And I thought, I mean, look at the leg of Benítez from those low kicks.
By the way, anybody just joining us on like Apple Podcasts, YouTube's definitely the best way to go about it, or Spotify, so you can see the pictures that we're posting, because we posted a picture of, is that Jim Miller's?
No, that's Benítez.
No, it's Benítez's leg, and it looks beat up.
Dude, he tore him apart with those leg kicks, and he kept going to it. It was awesome. But then, as you know, in the second round, Benítez started having success again with his hands, and then immediately Jim Miller takes him down. It was so perfect that he was like, we're brawling. And then as soon as Benítez started to get some momentum, he'd take him down, and he just worked him on the ground really well. Benítez trying to throw some arm bars. Shout out Cain Velasquez there in the corner of Benítez. You can see him in the picture there.
So nice to see him there.
Yeah, and then third round starts, and I thought really the third round was not looking so good for Jim Miller at the start of it. I thought Benítez was really starting to turn the tides. And then what does Jim Miller do? He takes him down. And excellent back take. I mean, he's just so good on the ground. He works the choke, gets the submission. I think he's got the second most submissions now in UFC history.
Some would call him a crafty veteran.
A crafty vet, man. He still just looks like he still looks fresh. You know, there was some.
It's so crazy.
It's nuts, dude. I don't know how he's doing it. It's like
I have a couple ideas.
You saw it's gone or what?
Yeah, exactly.
No, Jim Miller's a sav, dude. I mean, he's just so fucking cool, dude. And now they're trying to. It's crazy that they booked him on this. They should have booked him maybe in December or something, but you know, because they're gonna get him on UFC 300, and it's only a few months, so it's like, I hope it's not too rushed for him. I was hoping he was gonna get like a first round sub early, you know, and not take any punches or anything, and just be fresh, get to 300. But who do you put him up against at 300? Because he's going to be on
anybody.
Yeah, for those who don't know, he fought on UFC 100. He fought on UFC 200. And then UFC 300 is coming up, and he's still fucking winning. It's crazy.
I love it, man.
They're talking about Paul Felder coming out of retirement to fight him. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they call your boy Joe Lozon, try to make that fight happen one more time at 300. But I don't know. Lozon says he's not retired, but I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. Also, how nice was it to see Cain in there hugging Jim Miller and giving Jim Miller his props, dude? Oh, I just absolutely love it. Cain Velasquez. Shout out Cain Velasquez, man.
Yeah, shout out Cain Velasquez. It's gonna be sad.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can move on to the next one. It looks like we're gonna cover Ricky Simón versus Mario Bautista.
Easy fight of the night. Unless you're UFC and you're like, no, we're not going to give one tonight for some reason. But this was the fight that, you know, outside of the Manel Kape fight, this was the fight I was most excited for on this card, because both these guys are so goddamn good, and a big step up for Bautista here. And because Simón is someone who's been there. Everybody used to say everybody's ducking Simón. Nobody wants to fight Simón. And then, you know, Bautista is this guy that is tearing through people and then some people are saying, oh, but who's he beating? So it's just a perfect matchup. I thought the matchmaking on this was so good. And this fight fucking delivered, dude. Bantamweight rarely disappoints, you know? But
we talked about it in the last episode. It's full of killers, man. I think it's the best division in all of mixed martial arts.
Yeah, it's got to be. Coming into this, Bautista's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight win streak, with 3 of them being finishes, all submissions. Wow. Simón has just been a killer and a mainstay in the division
for quite some time.
I thought Bautista, Simón's so good at mixing his takedowns with his flurries, right? He'll go it's almost like an old school style where he'll throw punches and bunches to set up that takedown. As soon as you shell up from his swarm, he'll shoot on you. And Bautista knew that and was just blasting that knee up the middle to the body every time Simón would level change. And you're like, oh, fuck, that's a good read. It just looks so cerebral in there. But then at the end of the first, he got lazy with that front kick, and here it is. Simón caught him over the top and dropped him there. I don't know if it was more of a knockdown or as it was like his off balance,
Yeah, he tried to go in for like a flying knee. And that
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, what are you doing? Because Bautista was a little bit of a taller fighter, a little bit of a longer fighter, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, hey, work your distance, man. Work your distance.
Mhm.
Make Simón really work towards closing that distance. And instead, he's jumping into him with these flying knees and these little flurries. And it made it so easy for Simón to close that distance. He's like, oh, you want to come to me instead? Oh, cool. And just clocked him. And in between the rounds, he was like, hey, I can't throw that knee anymore. I got caught.
Mm-hmm. But then he started, and then the second round, man, Bautista just looked like everything was working on the feet for him, especially when he switched southpaw. He would switch southpaw and he'd blast that rear body kick, the left leg body kick to Simón right on the liver. And there was a point where he threw like 3 in a row, and Simón just had no answer for it. And I was like, keep throwing that. But then he'd go back to orthodox, and he wasn't really having that much success orthodox. And I was like, dude, stay southpaw. Everything you're throwing southpaw is landing. And then Simón got that sick slam at one point, where he picks him up, walks him across the cage over to his corner, drops him. Bautista got the butterfly hooks in, hit the elevator, did a fantastic sweep to get up. Really cool work, especially late in a fight to be able to do that in It's already hard to sweep somebody with the butterfly guard because it takes so much strength in your legs. You have to really shift their momentum and then use your legs to extend them, lift them up, and then create space so that you can get up. But he hit it late in the fight, and I was like, dude, this guy's a fucking animal. And then the last like minute and a half of that fight was like Max Holloway, Strikeforce Nick Diaz, just absolute outpour from Bautista to snag back that third round. I mean, there was a point where he had Simón up against the fence, and he was just like straight punch, and then Simón would cover up, and then he's just digging hooks to the body like Nick Diaz, and then he steps back and he's bah, bah, bah. Like, it was fucking beautiful third round from Bautista. This fight was fucking awesome.
He got to show everybody he's high level, man. He belongs there.
Dude, I'm very excited for what's next for Bautista, because I don't know. So was Simón ranked in this one?
I believe he is, yeah.
We go to bantamweight, Simón. Yeah, 13. So Bautista's knocking on the door of the top 10 here. I'm very excited to see what he does next, because he showed some crafty shit in here.
Yeah.
And you said, awareness. Awareness in the corner to be like, I can't throw that anymore. He picked up on that.
Yeah.
Very cool to see.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's rare, dude.
It was rare. Awesome. All right. We can move on to the next one if you like. We had Ferreira versus Hawes.
Yeah, this would be a quick one.
So Phil Hawes, he's one of those guys where, like, you see him on the card and you're like, okay, this is going to be an exciting fight.
Yep.
And either he's going to do major damage or he's going to take major damage, right?
Or more often, he'll do major damage and then take major damage. No disrespect to Phil Hawes, but man, sometimes it looks like he is an absolute world beater in there, and then he just gets clipped. It's just one of those guys.
Michael Johnson style,
Melvin Gillard style towards the end of his career. Melvin Manhoef, a lot of Melvins.
But this Brunno Ferreira, man, coming in, he calls himself the Hulk. Looks swole, right? People saying he looks a little small for that division. But he seemed to do okay.
Dude, when he got caught a couple times early, and I was like, okay. And he cracked Phil Hawes early with a big straight punch, and I was like, oh no. But then Phil Hawes ate it, and I was like, okay, maybe something was different in the camp. Maybe he spars real hard or something, because normally it doesn't seem like he can take a shot that well. But then he ate it, and I was like, okay, he's fine. And then Brunno hit him with the fucking knee from hell, straight up the middle, that I would have sat down and said no more if I ate that. But Phil Hawes took it. But then you could see truce. Yeah. Time out. But he cracked him again after that, and you see Phil Hawes kind of on skates there, and you're like, oh, this might be the beginning of the end. And Brunno stayed on him, but didn't get too wild, And then what ended up putting him down was kind of a weird glancing left.
The glancing really, shot to the temple.
Like it grazed him. Yeah.
It was like right up here.
Yeah, and it was like almost barely missed or almost missed. It's very close to missing. Sits him down. And he walks over him and finishes off with a couple punches while he's
Hey,
dead on the
Tanyoni,
ground.
come on, dude.
What are you, dude? When the fight started, I was watching with Kevin, and when the fight started, and I saw Tanyoni, I was like, "Oh, get ready for a weird stoppage." And this wasn't that. It wasn't bad or anything like that, but like the dude was dead on the ground, and
So
Brunno just walks over and fucking tees off on his lifeless body.
That was rough, man. That was rough.
It was brutal.
It was one of those things where Phil Hawes, he was conscious, right?
Mhm.
But you could see him laying on his back, and he's probably telling his body, like, move, defend, do something, please. Because you just see his eyes.
Side, dude.
Yeah, arms out by his side. His eyes get opened so wide. Look, and he's like, here he comes.
God.
And there's
Look at the
nothing
judge.
he can do.
The judge is like, in the background.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you have Tanyoni that's like, his eyes are still
Miles
open,
away.
dude. I think he still has a chance. He still
mean-
has a chance.
I get it. You got to do what you got to do. Probably could have been a walk-off KO if he stepped away. But we've seen in fights someone go for the
maybe
walk-off
not.
and it doesn't get stopped, and then all of a sudden they're still in the fight. So, but Brunno Ferreira, this was his first fight back from after taking his first loss, and you could see the emotion. I know you're like, I hate crocodile tears. Don't give me that fake crying if there's no tears.
Yeah, don't give me that shit.
My boy was sobbing. He was. I mean, you could tell it meant so much because, like, dude, you go through and you're the hammer in every single fight, and you make it to the UFC, and you're like, I am that fucking guy. And then, I think he had a knockout in his first fight, right, in the UFC.
Mhm.
And then you're like, hell yeah, dude, yeah, he knocked out RoboCop on short notice, and you're like, I'm that fucking guy, dude. And then he comes out and he loses the next fight, and he's like, oh fuck, who am I? Like, what does that do to your psyche? And then to come back out and get another first round knockout has got to just be the most redeeming, just absolute incredible. I mean, look at him here.
You look at the legs in the background. No. Oh my god, that is rough, dude. Tanyoni's probably like, "Hey, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I am
he's
so
like,
sorry, dude.
He's like, listen, Phil, you ate a couple extra shots. That's my bad. That's on me.
That's my bad. Lunch
You're
on
gonna
you,
be okay.
bud. All right."
Yeah.
Oh man, but Brunno Ferreira or Ferreira,
Back to
sorry,
what we call
looking
him.
like an absolute world beater, man. Though his power, and
He
he's
so
slick
hard,
too.
dude.
He goes for that single leg takedown. Phil
Mhm.
with that wrestling pedigree turns, yanks, right, and Ferreira's still holding on.
Oh, that was
like, for
sick.
dear life. And then as soon as he let go from a crouch position, throws a right hook and cracks Phil. And I was like, dude, he's creative, man. He's finding
creative, dude.
opportunities to just land some shots.
This is a judo background, dude, because Phil is a very
Judo.
very accredited grappler, wrestler specifically, and Bruno's got that judo background. You could see him work it. Most guys, it seems like a lot of judo guys don't have the success in the cage with it. And I don't know if it's they're trying to implement it in the wrong ways, but the way Brunno implemented it in this fight was fucking money, dude. The guy, he's now
Judo versus JUCO, because
yeah.
Phil Hawes, I think, was the JUCO wrestling national champion. So
There you
see
go.
what I did there? Kind of
He's now 10-1, Brunno. Never gone to decision in 11 fights.
wow.
He's only gone to the second round twice. That's crazy,
Hulk, dude.
He's the Hulk, man.
He's
the Hulk.
All right. Looking forward to more fights with Ferreira and more fights ref by Tanyoni. And are we going to cover Arlovsky versus Cortez Acosta?
No, we're covering one more fight. We're going to skip that fight because I'll fucking punch a hole through my monitor if we talk about it for too long. But so we're going to skip a couple fights. We're also short on time because of all of our streaming mishaps with our provider, which I put a ticket in already. They better fucking answer to me, dog. We're skipping a couple fights. Last fight we're going to cover is our boy Marcus McGhee versus Gaston Bolaños.
Dude, McGhee.
Marcus, this is our fucking boy. We said it since his debut on short notice. This guy's fucking special. He's good on the mic. His footwork is absolutely incredible. I mean, this guy, and you can see he's getting even better. Like, you can see in his debut, it's a little bit raw, but he's got the power. He's got quick hands. In this fight, dude, he looked like a goddamn world beater. I am so impressed.
Dude, his ability to move in and out of the pocket so quickly. He's like a refined Dominic Cruz. You know, he doesn't have like the crazy movement that's going up and down. That's like lunging. Yeah. But he's in and out. And if you take a look at his footwork, man, like he's switching stance, switching back over to the other one. You know what I mean? Going back and forth. And then on top of that, what I'm really impressed with, when he gets into that phone booth boxing, he is so calm, right?
Yeah.
Under fire. And like, you know, some people you see him kind of like just
right now.
Yeah, they bite down on their mouthpiece and just like fucking swing, right? No, like he's still really defensively sound, man. And like he slips just enough, eyes on the target the entire time, and he's not throwing anything wild. Everything is calculated in there. And Bolaños ate some shots.
Yeah, the coolest thing about him too is when he's in that pocket, like you said, when you're in the fire, a lot of guys will just go left, right, left, right, left, right. And here he is, dude. He quadrupled on the right hook at one point.
The right hook, oh, that was so good.
I'm like, dude, this guy, because you get so used to your head movement. If someone's just alternating left, right, you can really just you can almost have your eyes closed and you can start slipping punches. But once you start doubling up on stuff or going offbeat and things like that, it's like, oh my God, it's so much fun to watch. And that's what Marcus was doing so well in the phone booth. And Bolaños would just kind of like throw these long punches. And he was in the fight like early, right? Yeah. He's throwing these long punches that Marcus is able to just, like you said, just kind of hop right out of the way. He's slipping them. He's getting in, throwing these. The hook was money as a check hook and a lunging hook, like on the offense and the retraction. I mean, really just fantastic. And the coolest thing that I saw in this was not just footwork in the pocket and footwork while striking, but footwork to like set up traps. You know what I mean? Like,
well, dude, how about every time Bolaños kept on circling against the cage off to his right, McGhee made that read and threw that spinning back kick and landed it. Unlike Shevchenko, there was a plan.
There was a plan, dude. The finishing, that's exactly what I was alluding to with the footwork. Like, I wish there was a good picture of the spinning back kick, but there wasn't. Shout out Chris.
Come on, Chris Unger.
Best, you know? But there's the spinning to the body, which landed perfectly. And you could see when he landed this, Gaston was like,
the sternum.
He like took a step back and he smiled. He's like, okay. And then and then he like brings him on and Marcus is like, all right. But what I thought was so cerebral is before the spin, he throws a power left high kick and Bolaños blocks it out here. And then most of the time, if someone throws a power kick like that, you block it and you're like, cool, I blocked it. He was like, cool, I blocked it, puts his hands down, and then Marcus is right there with the right hand. And it drops him. And Marcus is like, all right, cool. That's a walk-off. And they're like, no, it wasn't. And then he gets back up. He's like, all right. Blasts another high kick. Throws the right hand again on it. It was perfect. And then that's what forced him to circle out. And then he goes to spin kick. I mean, it was just – and then the spin kick pushes him into the fence as he's bouncing back and hits him with the – oh, my God.
It was a beautiful finish, man.
It was so good, dude. I am so high on Marcus McGhee, dude. He's very good.
I try to tell you. He was out.
Yeah.
I tried to tell you. Like, I was trying to be a nice guy. I tried to do the walk-off, and look at what you made me do.
Look at what you made me do. Yeah. You made me show something I didn't want to show yet. I saw it in the post-fight press conference. Someone asked him, like, yeah, your wife's a teacher, you're a fighter, and I heard you say you like to say, oh, my wife's out there schooling kids in the classroom. I'm out there schooling dudes in the cage. And he was like, oh, yeah, I practiced that. He's like, anytime the kids are acting up in a classroom, she'll threaten them with me. I go in there and he's like, I actually practiced that spin kick on some of the kids. It's so funny, dude.
Hilarious, bro. Hilarious. Hey, careful though. Ian Gary sees that, bro. He's gonna go nuts. He's gonna put a target on his back. Ian Gary's gonna be looking for him.
Ian Gary's for the children, dude. But yeah, very good win for Marcus. I'm very high on him. I'm excited to see what he does moving forward because that division is fucking nasty, dude. It's a fun division.
He seems like a good dude too, man. Like,
yeah, he really
that's
does.
What makes it so much more fun when you're watching fighters like this, and then they get on the mic and you're like, dude, he sounds like a cool dude. Like, we don't know him, right? But just the way that he portrays himself, the way that he carries himself in the octagon, man, and post-fight press conferences, stuff like that, just makes you think that he's a really cool dude. So
shout out his YouTube channel.
Nothing but the best.
Check out his YouTube channel. It's pretty good. Also, he's a skater, so automatic points in my book.
Oh, dang.
But that's pretty much all we're covering for the UFC. Sorry, it's a non-live episode. Sorry, it's
wait. Do we have any moment of silence? Do we have? I thought there was a big moment of silence for you, Will.
There's a big moment of silence We should have a slide for it. It's a lot of fights canceled on this one. If we get that picture up, there we go. Yeah. So Yana Santos, your girl versus Norma Dumont. Santos pulled out. Well, it's Santos now. Put some respect on it.
My bad.
Preston Parsons was originally supposed to fight Hawes. Hawes was the guy who made a short notice debut against Jack Della. That would have been a fun fight. Preston Parsons versus Semmelsberger was actually fun too, though.
He still ended up winning.
Yeah. Gabriel Santos was supposed to fight Weston Wilson. Weston Wilson probably wishes that fight happened because he ended up fighting Gene Silva, and Silva absolutely beat the brakes off of him. But yeah, so that sucks. Ketlin Vieira versus Macy Chasson would have been a fight that happened. But the big one, the real big one, Matheus Nicolau versus Manel Kape. Manel Kape missed weight. Nicolau said no thanks to the fight. So that fizzled. And it's a real bummer because I've been telling everybody, Manel Kape. He will be the champ.
Manel Kape.
But his
C-A-P. Cap.
His antics. I cannot defend the missed weight.
I cannot defend them.
I cannot do it.
There's only so much I can do, Manel. Help me out here.
Come on, man. I've been fucking backing you for the past 4 goddamn years.
Rough, dude. Rough. As soon as I saw that news, right away, dude, my mind went straight to you.
I was so pissed, dude. Whatever.
Oh, man. It is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Shit happens.
In the words of Max Holloway, it is what it is. Yeah. I'm sure it's not just Max Holloway, but, All right. And then we also have bonuses, right?
Yeah, bonuses. Ankalaev got one for the knockout on Johnny Walker. I believe Jim Miller got one. Jim Miller got one for choking out Benítez. Phil Hawes did not get one because he got knocked out by Bruno Ferreira, who got a bonus for it. And then our boy Marcus McGhee got a bonus. And then somehow Simón and Bautista did not get fight of the night. They didn't do a fight of the night. It's crazy.
Wow. Not the budget.
They're like, whoa. The fiscal year just started. We can't be handing out too many bonuses. Maybe towards the end of the year when we know what we have.
Yeah, exactly. There we go, man.
It was a decent card. It was all right.
It was decent. It wasn't super crazy, but hey, man, a lot going on with Ankalaev. Very much like us trying to record today. I'm really sorry to everybody who tried to join us live. We were live for, what was it, 20 seconds? 25 seconds?
20 seconds. And then the next time we were live for 10 seconds. Our platform is just crashing, telling us that we were live when we weren't. Super, super frustrating. But
yeah. Shout out
that's how we're starting the new year.
Let us know through X, right? That
yeah. Thank you, Ganscow. Otherwise, we would have just kept recording, thinking we were live, and being like, "Damn, nobody's joining the live stream."
All right. Well, hey, just in case anybody was wondering, we will be recording for one as well. That'd be like a separate recording. We'll make sure we get that done sooner rather than later. But thank you to everybody that's checking this out. Like Will said earlier, please make sure that you comment in the comment thread. Because we would still love to go back and forth and see what your thoughts are on the fights. And outside of that, I guess we'll catch everybody later. This show, even though it was a mini show, also produced by Richard Bustos. Hey, there it is, right?